All right, so why are we here?
We're here because we're going to talk about the dreaded topic of essay writing and using essays.
Now, I think it's fair to say that both Mr. Chabot and myself are pretty big fans of essays. We both believe that they are not just things that we do because of school, but they're great things, they're great tools that lead to great students and lead to great thinking.
I agree.
That's it? Okay.
Okay, so here's my question.
Yeah.
I know why I like essays. Why do you care about essays? What's the purpose of them? Why are they useful? And please don't tell me it's just so I can do good in school.
No, essays are like the best method that I've seen as a teacher to teach kids an essential life skill, which is how to reason and rationalize things and create an argument and back it up so that they can get a job. They can, like, every single thing.
Okay, I'm cutting you off here.
Okay.
You said a rational life skill.
Yeah.
And essays to me, or what I've heard, is just this is for a teacher so I can get a grade. So how is this a rational life skill that can lead to something that you're talking about because I'm lost?
Well, for the next few years, you guys are probably going to use essays to get grades in school. But when you guys learn the skill of writing an essay, you're going to actually learn how to pretty much get anything and everything you want. Like, I know I could go home and I could say to my wife, I want a new phone. And she would look at me and very matter of fact go, and that would be her response.
Yeah, you're not getting a phone.
I'm not getting a phone.
Or a new car.
Or a new car. I would like both of those things. Can you make that happen for me?
Okay, so I get what you're saying, but I still don't understand. How is an essay going to help you get a phone, get a car, get what you want?
Well, what happens with an essay is you actually create a logical sequence of arguments that guide your audience, your teacher, your parent. If you're a 14-year-old and you're trying to get your first cell phone, then you are going to have to convince someone of something. And just saying I want isn't going to be good enough for everything that you want to do in your life. You're going to have to actually create some amount of an ordered, logical, sequential way to convince that person that what you want is actually the right choice. And that's what an essay actually is.
I agree. So like for me, I always think of essays as this practice for a conversation I want to have.
Yeah.
Where I'm able to think of everything that they're going to say. Have you ever been in that situation where you think of something after the conversation and you thought, oh, I should have said that. That would have been such a good argument.
No, I'm really witty.
Oh, yeah. Whatever.
Yes, I have.
So I'm that type of person as I think about it after. I could have said this. I should have said this, but I didn't say that. And the reason I didn't say that is because I didn't think of it. I didn't think of what were they going to say. Any reason why they would say no to this. Did I have a solution, an idea, a comeback, something I could have used that might have convinced them that this was a better or a different way, or at least an option that they could consider. And half the time, I bring it up before they even say it.
Yep. And that, truthfully, guys, is the reason why essays are amazing. They allow you to get if you can represent that you understand your opponents, or maybe it's not your opponent, but the person that you're trying to convince, if you can understand their viewpoint and your viewpoint and find a way to put those two things in alignment, you are going to find you are so much more successful in all different aspects of life.
And even if you don't succeed in getting what you want, the other person's going to respect you more and respect your thought process for the next discussion, because you're going to realize you're thinking stuff through. You're not just wanting something. Yep. You know what I think we should do? I think we should role play this.
All right.
So by role play, what I want to do is one of us is going to take the I want something, and the other person is going to just act out what would normally happen in a conversation. And we'll probably have to role play it 3 or 4 different times.
100%.
Because we're going to show you, if you don't write the essay well, what's going to happen to you when you have that discussion.
All right.
Topic? So what's our topic?
Well, a cell phone seems perfectly logical.
Okay, so you want a cell phone, and I'm your dad, and I don't want to give it to you.
All right. Well,
I
you
hate
are
being the dad
significantly.
because I look so much younger than Mr.
I was
Sutherland.
gonna say you are significantly grayer than I am.
Yeah, bite me. I mean, oops, I'm not allowed to say that on television. All right. Although I feel older today. Okay, so, yeah.
So, Dad, I want a phone.
No. Conversation's over.
I lost.
He lost.
I definitely lost.
I didn't spend any money today.
And that means you won.
That means I'm happy.
Okay, but actually, in that bit of a conversation, I figured out what one of his things is money.
Yes.
One of the things that my dad in this role play is concerned about is money. So if I understand that aspect of who my dad is, or who I'm arguing with, what it is that what their currency is, in this case we're talking about actual currency. If I understand what it is that they are wanting to hear, what they're needing to be convinced of, I can create a better argument. So,
Let's
want to
try
try this
that.
again?
Yeah.
All right. So, Dad, I feel like I'm old enough now to get a phone. I know that they cost a lot of money to buy a phone up front, but what I'd be willing to do is I'd be willing to work around the house to do a bunch of jobs around the house that might save you some money and time if I could have a phone. Would that?
Well, it's all nice and good, and I appreciate that you're willing to do that around the house, but you should be willing to do that around the house anyway.
dang.
But I do appreciate that you're willing to do that, but I still don't see why you need a phone, so the answer is still no.
All right, but that was a better result than my first one because I put forward what my desire was, what I wanted to convince him of, and I put forward some amount of thought behind it that, at least swayed and showed him that I was thinking about it. I was putting together a sequence of thoughts.
Right. Now, the one thing we haven't done yet is we haven't really introduced the topic before we even get to a phone, which could we try that?
Sure.
Introducing why you want a phone and the purposes of having a
100%.
phone before you get into reasons.
Oh yeah, that is a building block of a good essay. It's creating the desire, it's creating the outcome that you want in your opening paragraph, and then giving through your body of your essay, you would give a sequence of reasons and logical examples of things that will convince your parent or your teacher or whoever it is you're talking to that you're right. Okay?
Okay, let's go
So,
with the end.
Dad, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I know we've had previous conversations about a phone. I know that this isn't the best answer, but a lot of my friends have phones right now, and I'm missing out on a lot of my peer interactions. Like, my friends are talking to each other on the phone, and they're texting with each other, and I would like to not be finding out after the fact that my friends have made plans and done those things. I know it costs lots of money, and I know that there's a lot of responsibility that comes with having a phone, and there's a lot of possible negative outcomes from having a phone, but I want to prove to you that I can help pay for the phone, that I'll be responsible, that you giving me the opportunity to prove that I can be trusted will be actually a good thing, a growing thing for me. And I really do want to be able to connect with my friends because that's a very important thing for me. Can we create some sort of an agreement to help me get a phone and grow into the young man that I know you want me to be as my caring dad?
Well, that was smooth. So as a dad, I'm like, I don't know what to say to that other than I think that's a fantastic opening. He's really come up with some reasons for me to get through it. He's already started giving me his body paragraphs. But son, the one thing you've said is nothing. You've said nothing about how you're going to do that. There's no evidence. You say you're going to give me some money. You say you're going to be responsible. I have no idea what responsible means to you. Am I supposed to just believe you say you're going to be responsible, so you're responsible? I have no evidence. I have no information. You have not proven to me that you can even do all those things. So, nope, not getting that phone.
All right. So at this point with an essay, we are really just at the formative steps of an essay. We are creating a path that we're going to guide our teacher or parents with the argument. And again, an argument isn't a bad thing. An argument isn't like people yelling at each other. An argument is just this is what I want, this is what I want to get across. And it's a very essential skill for all different aspects of life.
When we argue, it's a difference of opinion. That's basically what we're doing.
It's me trying to convince you, and I create a argument to try and sway your opinion closer to what my opinion is. So the next step, and we're going to talk about these things in greater detail, is actually finding evidence. If you were Dad, and if when I was talking about money, if I would have said, I want to be able to get a job, so I need a phone to be able to get a job so I can do this and this and this. It will allow me to be able to get a hold of you when my job is done at the end of the day and I need to be picked up. And the money that I make at my job, a minimum wage is $15 an hour. I want to be able to, I'll be able to pay for my phone bill, which I've already looked up, Dad, is only $75 a month with data. And so if I get a job, I can make $75 a month and I can pay for my own phone.
Other than the initial cost.
Other than the initial cost. But actually there's $0 up front now on phones.
Yeah.
So there's no upfront cost to it. There's just the monthly bill that comes out of my pocket for the next 2 or 3 years. And so now...
I'm not saying yes, but
I'm
saying I'm
evidence.
Considering it.
I've created a lot of evidence that makes my dad have to think a little bit more about what he's going to say. And so that is the next critical part of a good essay is evidence.
So I think what we should do is we're going to come up to this evidence piece much more over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Well, we're just trying to tell you simply this. An essay is not a school project that you're doing for a teacher. It's a skill that you're learning how to communicate. You're just writing it down on paper. And you're planning it out before you actually have the conversation. That's what a persuasive essay is. So this helps you to have a debate.
Yep.
It helps you to have a conversation with someone. And it helps you to explore ideas. And it helps you to even consider what the other person is going to say before you have that conversation so you know how to respond. But not only that you might have an idea of what's going on in their head. And once you know someone better, your communication is better.
Yep.
So we need you guys to start thinking about essays because in the next 3-4 weeks, that's going to be the sole lesson planning for social studies. Our topic is what? What's our topic?
We're gonna make you guys, and again, I'm sorry for saying it that way, but you are going to write an essay on Japan's isolation. And again, we'll go into greater detail down the road about some of the ways that you can kind of build your essay, some of the points of view that you can come at. So we'll talk about it on a continuum of, one side completely to the opposite side and how you can build that, just like I would in class. But again, this is an assignment that we're giving you in school that is going to lead you down a path towards being able to buy your first vehicle, get your first mortgage, do all those things, like all the big things in life that I've had to do, and I'm sure that Mr. Chabot has had to do, have taken some amount of a conversation with the people that are involved, whether it be, in both of our cases, our wives. Like I've had to talk to my wife about buying a new vehicle, about getting new phones, about what we're going to do with our kids for schooling and all those kinds of things. Like we've had these conversations, and if we don't have a very clearly thought out process, then it's very hard to get our points across and be understood and heard.
And we're going to fight more. So here's what we want you to do this week. What we want you to do this week is start to think about whether you agree with Japan being isolated or not being isolated, and whether you agree about being isolated yourself, because in this school, you have chosen to be in a Christian school, which in itself is a form of kind of isolation, isn't it?
Yep, it is taking you outside of the public school world and putting you into a more isolated situation. And again, we're going to make another video here shortly that is going to explore what it is to be isolated inside of our school, and we'll talk about that a bit more. I know I've talked about it in some of my previous social studies videos. So we're going to make these things kind of, hopefully very clear for you so you can see what it is that it looks like to create an argument, what isolation means in the case of Japan, and how to find good evidence that will be able to convince us that you understand something of Japan and that you have someone else that actually lends their support to your argument.
That sounds good. Now, I honestly say this. What you're about to work on in the next 3-4 weeks is essentially probably the most important stuff that you're ever going to do for social studies with me and Mr. Sutherland. And the reason is it's going to help you the most, not only in school, but in life. So please don't just drop off we're going to write an essay idea. We're not. We're going to learn these life skills that allow you to get what you want and be able to succeed in communicating effectively.
Yep. And the reason why we're doing this is not because we're just, old and want to be rude. We're doing this actually because we want to get you a head start on your peers. I know that I've talked to students that have gone on to the high school that when their teacher in grade 10 asked them how many of them written essays before, they looked around the class with their hand up and said, oh.
Yeah. So this will help you greatly both if you're academic or not academic and trying to get through school.
100%.
Good to see you. Hope you're having a great week. We will be in touch next week.
See you guys soon.
Take care.